Start off way too strong. Hot dog, hot diggity dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog, a hot dog. Get out of here, mouse. Shut up, Elkin. Yeah. Ugh. Oh, we don't want to go hang out at the sanatorium. Rude. Ugh. Coping, more like coping. Hell yeah, you little son of a gun. God, a rock eater. Switch. Switchity swagger. It's Switch Howard. It's the best skateboarding move. The 920. The only real skateboarder is Tony Hawk. Hi, Frost. You know what? I bet Switch doesn't even know actually how to skateboard. I've never seen it, so I don't think he really can. Yeah, probably a good idea. It's 6:30 in the morning. See, that's the kind of attitude that makes me believe the Switch does not know how to skateboard. And never has. Oh, cracking myself up. What's up, old man Rar? Whew. What happens when I actually have to do real work all day and then I finally get home and I can de-stress. There we go. Hey there, Ellie. How are you feeling? Hello, Goffin. I suppose I'm hanging in. I'm more concerned about the evacuees. How are they doing? Hard to say, really. The people who came from the city are feeling more uneasy than any of us. I'm happy to open up all our rooms, but we only have so many. It isn't ideal for them to all have to share. It's very true. I'm sorry for the burden we've undoubtedly placed on you. You got nothing to apologize for. Sounds good, Frost. I was gonna do this, because I've been trying to read a chapter. God, these are so long. The town was practically empty, and the first rays of dawn were only just beginning to pierce the dark sky above. Stepping out of the inn, 3 inhaled deeply, filling his lungs with the chilly air in an effort to dispel his drowsiness. The town, known as Luzon, was located on the border of Calvert and Reverie. 3 and 9 would often undertake missions in both countries, making the centrally located town a perfect base of operations. East of the town was an official border crossing into Calvert. In stark contrast, westward lay a mountain road known only to a select few. It was a treacherous pass, to be sure, but also one that facilitated entry into the Republic without the need to go through the official channels. 3 headed to the designated rendezvous point, a small hill surrounded by weathered boulders. The site was deep in the mountains and therefore free of unwanted eyes. There, he found a black silhouette waiting for him. It was a man hidden in shadow, wrapped in a tattered black cloak that obscured his face and body both. Despite his bedraggled attire, his presence had an insurmountable weight to it, instilling a primal sort of fear into any who laid eyes on him. "I'm here to make my report," said 3. In response, the cloaked figure uttered only a single word: "Speak." This man, known as the Overseer, was one of the higher-ranking members of the organization. He was given the name of Emperor from the Major Arcana, but those who served under him referred to him simply as the Overseer. As his title suggested, he watched over 3 and the rest of the organization's tools. He was the one who provided mission instructions and received the reports. 3 relayed the details of the Haldor mission to the Overseer. As he finished, the man spoke again. Next, regarding 9 of Swords. As part of their debriefing, every member was required to report on their partner's activities. Each of the pair would separately describe what they did and what they observed their partner doing. Even the slightest discrepancy between the pair's reports was regarded with suspicion. The objective behind this requirement was to instill them with fear that any plot they may hatch to betray the organization would swiftly make its way to the ears of their superiors. "That is all," 3 said as he finished his report. "Very well," the Overseer said. "You'll be contacted with instructions for your next mission once they are ready." "Understood." 3 turned to head back to town, but as he did, the Overseer spoke again. It was a little more than a whisper, but it was delivered with a weight that froze 3 in his tracks. "Stop." 3 slowly turned around to face the Overseer. As always, his dark hood completely covered his face. "It has been 3 years now. You've not been designing any more plans, have you?" 3 felt a sudden chill shoot down his spine. The Overseer's suffocating gaze was laced with a powerful malice. There was no need for 3 to ask for clarification. He knew the Overseer was talking about his escape attempt 3 years prior. The Emperor had personally conducted many of the organization's purges of runaway members. As their very lives became threatened, many lower-ranking members would find themselves overwhelmed by fear, rendering them powerless before the merciless Emperor. Thus, even within the organization, a cruel place in its own right, the Emperor had earned himself a reputation for his savagery. He was also the very same man who had tracked down 3 and Ace during their escape attempt. Had he already picked up on 3's new plan to escape? No, 3 found the thought absurd. He had taken every step with the utmost care and prudence. Further, if the Emperor had obtained some proof of 3's wrongdoing, the young assassin would already be dead. This is a test. If 3 wavered here, even in the slightest, it would mean his end. "I will never again attempt something so foolish. I am a tool of the organization, nothing more. My sole purpose is to take the lives of my targets." The way he cast his eyes, his calculated and practiced manner of speech, his natural breathing patterns, 3 had pulled it off to perfection. Silence hung heavy in the air between them for a moment. Finally, the Emperor spoke. "I do hope that is the case." The murderous presence faded from the air, as did the tension that had been building 3's chest. There are certain expectations riding on your shoulders," the Emperor said. "I will fully devote myself to meeting them," 3 said in the same practiced tone. He moved once more to return to town and was not stopped this time. He bought it. Back at his inn room, 3 let out a sigh of relief as he collapsed into his bed. Nothing had really happened during the exchange with the Overseer, but nonetheless he felt completely drained. Without exception, each interaction he had with the Overseer was psychologically exhausting. This was to be expected, however, as he was indeed hiding his true intentions from the organization. In truth, 3 had been planning a second escape attempt. The past 3 years had been grueling, but it did nothing to quash his fervent desire for freedom. If anything, his resolve to reclaim his humanity had only grown, stronger by the day. However, each day also saw his blood-drenched hands growing yet heavier with sin. He was a mere tool, human in physical form only. What few shreds of humanity still remained in his heart, he feared would be forever lost before much longer. Each new day that dawned could be the day that he finally slipped away into being little more than a device, one whose only function was assassination. Put simply, a cold-hearted monster. That was the terrifying future he dreaded above all else. "I absolutely need to succeed this time. I need to get out." His plan had 2 requirements he absolutely needed to meet in order to succeed. First off, he needed to avoid a direct confrontation with the Overseer. Second, 9 could not find out about his plan, regardless of their partnership. He had to be careful to avoid even giving the impression that he longed for freedom. Of course, this meant that 3 would be forced to abandon 9. Someone who had fought at his side through countless life-or-death situations. The girl was even younger than he was, but for all her genius, there seemed to be something off about her. Nonetheless, whether 3 thought about the moment he would pull the trigger and finally put his plan in motion, he always felt a strange sensation welling up inside of him. Strangely enough, it was a desperate urge to fill her in. There was a number of times where 3 had tried, actually. Before he could even get the first word out, however, memories of Ace's sword speeding down towards him would flash through his mind. In the end, he always remained silent. I can't take this anymore. I can't let my scars define me. I know what I have to do. There's no other way. 3 shook off the thoughts plaguing him and returned his focus to preparing for his escape. The only person I can trust is myself. The rest of the day went by quickly, and before long, dusk began to settle on the town. The day saw 3's diligence pay off at last. His final preparations had gone as smoothly as he could have hoped for. The time had finally arrived. He would set his plan into motion that night. Once 9 fell asleep, he would leave town via the mountain road. Once in Calvert, he would be traveling by car, and he had already arranged for a rental to take him up north to a certain city. Once he arrived, he'd promptly set off for Liberal via one of the international airship routes that regularly departed from the city. He had yet to decide what to do up to that point. He could stay a night or two in Liberal, or perhaps head over to Lemont. In any case, he needed to get as far away from his current location as possible. He may have been in the lowest rung of the organization and had a little idea what went on among its upper echelons, but he was determined to show them all that he was capable of casting off the shackles that they had bound him with. Caw, caw! His rising determination was interrupted by a crow flying into the room. It made a few circles in the air before landing on the table. What the? Taking a closer look at the bird, 3 noticed a specific crest adorning one of its legs. As he did, his face twisted into a grimace. It could only mean one thing. This is the method the Overseer used to communicate. Now? He wants to meet now? It hadn't even yet been an entire day since 3 had delivered his report. The briefing for the next mission, maybe? Even as he said the words, he was gripped by an indescribable sense of dread and anxiety. However much he wanted to simply ignore the summons, it was not a luxury he could afford. The only chance his plan had of succeeding was if he was able to put a good amount of distance between himself and the would-be pursuers before the Overseer realized what had happened. Were 3 to ignore direct order, however, the organization would immediately recognize it as an act of rebellion, one that would inevitably lead to his death. Mentally preparing himself for another encounter, one he could not avoid, 3 set out for the meeting location. The rendezvous point was the foot of a small hill deep within the mountains, the same site he had been just that morning, in fact. There remained no trace of the ominous, eerie stillness that pervaded the place before, however. Bathed by the light of the setting sun, the weathered boulders seemed wreathed in brilliant flames from a distance. 3 arrived to find 2 figures already waiting for him. The first was the Overseer, draped in the same tattered robe as usual. The thought occurred to 3 that it made the man look more the part of the Hermit Arcana than it did the Emperor. At the man's side stood a young girl carrying a large stuffed bear. 9. Her attire was more or less the same as what she wore on the Haldor mission, with a few alterations to make it more functional and mobile. Her presence there did not cause any alarm for 3. After all, if they had been called to be briefed on their next mission, it was only natural she would be summoned as well. Something felt different, however. 3 couldn't put his finger on why, but anxiety began gripping his chest. So you have arrived, the Overseer said as 3 approached. Yes, what is my task? The initial exchange... Woo! That's very good news, Lusos. The initial exchange was the same as it always was. What happened afterward, however, was decidedly not. Make your appeal. My appeal? 3 said slowly, the anxiety in his chest crushing. I have received a report detailing your treachery from 9 of Swords. I don't... 3 stammered. He was at an utter loss for words. He had calculated each and every outcome that could potentially happen, going over the steps in his head time and time again. And the absolute worst one possible was now playing out right before his eyes. A wave of despair washed over him. Could this really be happening again? Had 9 betrayed him just like Ace? It wasn't possible, 3 thought. He hadn't told her a thing. He knew that their relationship was strictly professional. He could not, under any circumstances, trust her. That was just how partnerships in the organization worked. How could she have known? It didn't make any sense. There's been some kind of mistake. 3 attempted to defend himself, knowing full well it was a futile endeavor. You can't talk yourself out of this, S. No, 3 of Swords. 9 finally spoke, but her usual sleepy demeanor was nowhere to be found. Instead, her voice was crisp, her eyes alert. She removed a scrap of paper from within her bear and showed it to 3. This is your ticket for an airship voyage to Liberal, the one you booked for noon tomorrow. 3 felt the ground fall out from under him. Amidst his shock, a small part of him wanted to yell out that the ticket was fake, that he had the real ticket, but to do so would be tantamount to suicide. 9 continued speaking, as though directly responding to 3's unspoken questions. The ticket you have in your possession is counterfeit. I swapped it for the genuine one while you weren't paying attention. Fresh from completing a mission that utilized this very same kind of forgery, 3 now found himself the victim of the exact same trick. By the way, the name you used to acquire this ticket was Rhines Foggart, student of Venus Royal Academy, correct? 9 continued. That's the same name you used for your false ID on one of our missions last year. That would mean you've been planning this for quite some time, wouldn't it? Despite the immediate threat to his life, 3 couldn't help but admire 9's genius, strangely enough. 3 decided he wouldn't even try to come up with an excuse. 9 had clearly seen right through his plan. She'd seen right into his mind, really. There was just one part he didn't understand. Even if it was her duty to sell him out like this, even if she was a genius, he had been so cautious and prudent every step of his plan, yet it had been all laid bare, seemingly without a trace of effort. How the hell had this happened? I take that expression to mean you're trying to puzzle out just how your entire plan was exposed, 9 said. Slight smiles playing at the corner of her lips. It was clear to 3 she was toying with him now, mocking him. You do realize I've been watching you the whole time we've been partners, right? You've been my only target right from day one. Her tone was merciless, her words dripping with thinly veiled venom. Yes, I've been watching you, 3, inspecting, observing. The only real challenge was remaining patient as I waited for you to slip up and finally show your true colors. It's been that way since the moment I became your partner. 3 struggled to wrap his mind around what 9 was saying. The fact is, you did attempt to betray the organization, but even if you hadn't, I would have falsified whatever I needed in order to ensure your demise. She continued to speak, leaving nothing unsaid, despite the overseer's presence. With each word, 3 felt more and more baffled. He could understand her observing him to the degree that their job required, but where was this malicious hatred of hers coming from? She'd felt this way from the start? Why? The overseer, who had been silent for some time, let out a low, derisive laugh. I take it you have yet to figure it out? Who she is, I mean. 3 could not, for the life of him, figure out what this was supposed to mean. He looked over at 9, searching for some sort of clue. All he was met with, however, was a glare of pure hatred, one that made him shudder in fear. He had never seen her look that way before. Do you remember Ace of Swords, your former partner? She began, before her voice gained a measured deadly weight to it. The one you murdered? He was my brother. 3's world began spinning. He started to feel violently ill. His senses dulled. His mind went blank. It became hard to breathe, as though he was being pulled to the bottom of the sea. The air crushed out of his lungs by its unrelenting pressure. Now, after all this time, I can finally avenge his murder. 3 barely heard 9's words as his head swam with thoughts. Ace was 9's brother. She had known everything from the start. She'd been biding her time, hiding her true intentions from the moment they'd first met, always keeping a watchful eye for a suitable opportunity to arise, an opportunity to claim her vengeance. 3 stood there dumbfounded, as though he had lost the ability to speak entirely. I see no need for you to sputter through an excuse, the overseer said, reading the shock clearly written across 3's face. We have all the facts we need. You will be purged from the organization. As per our rules, your partner, 9 of Swords, will now end your life. Hearing the overseer's words, 9 stepped forward. If you wish for assistance in this task, he said, turning to her, you will not be penalized. The reward will remain the same. The only condition is that you must be the one to deliver the final blow. Once you had eliminated him, your obligations will be cleared, though I admit the idea of losing such talent pains me. The reward, the right to one's freedom gained by uncovering and then executing a partner who had betrayed their organization. The yearning for this freedom had dominated 3's existence for years, and now 9 would be the one to gain it, in exchange for his life. Allow me the honor of doing it alone, she responded. I will avenge my brother's death with my own hands. She took another step forward, producing a number of poison needles from inside her bear. Without a moment's hesitation, she launched them at 3. He instinctively drew his sword and batted the needles out of the air. The combat tactics that had been drilled into him dictated he close the distance between them, yet he didn't take so much as a single step. His parry was purely reflexive, programmed into his mind through years of combat. He had no intention of truly fighting back. Perhaps it was partially because he didn't want to hurt her. More than anything, however, it was because he knew there was no point in resisting. Even if he did manage to best 9, he would need to take on the Emperor afterwards, and he knew that was a battle he had no chance of winning. 3 simply accepted his fate was to die there and then, and there was nothing he could do to change it. 9 pulled out roughly twice as many needles as before and again launched them at her former partner. In response, he automatically drew his short sword and used both blades to swiftly deflect them. In 3's mind, the thought slowly began to sink in. This is his retribution for killing Ace. 9 leapt at him, closing the distance, and began attacking with an even greater intensity. Someone like me, 3 thought. Someone who slaughters a friend to preserve his own life doesn't deserve freedom. Someone like me doesn't even deserve to live. 9 continued her assault, attacking with both her needles and her thread. Were this an ordinary situation, there was no chance she could be a match for 3 in a close-quarters fight. However, his heart was not in the battle, causing a significant shift in the balance of power in the fight. Eventually, 9 managed to decisively gain the upper hand, successfully looping her thread around 3's neck. I'll die for her vengeance, he thought. Maybe that's the only outcome that makes sense. Maybe that's the end I deserve. 9 definitely moved her fingers, and the steel collar tightened around 3's neck. This is the end, she said in a flat, frigid tone. 3 knew what would happen next. He closed his eyes, choosing to await his end in silence, but the cold embrace of death did not come. Oh, and then there's a whole backstory about her. So I'm guessing they both escaped the assassination group together. I will continue reading that the next chapter. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Trying to do it every time I join start another stream is just read another chapter. But yeah, Lucis, I don't know if you caught any of that or if you were listening to me read any of the other parts of the story. Yeah, essentially 3 and 9, they're definitely from the assassination group that the Bracers thought that they'd killed or got rid of all of them, the ones that Shannon was a part of, or Ouroboros thought they got rid of. They absolutely did not. Which would make sense. I mean, they're assassins. There's going to be you can't find all of them. That's the whole point. So that's my I'm almost like 100% sure it's either the same assassin group or one that's almost the exact same. Yeah, and they have weird rules about you get kidnapped as a child, forced to go through training to be an assassin. You either die or you graduate. If you graduate, you get partnered up, and then you're supposed to do assassinations. Your partner watches you to make sure that you don't betray the organization. If you do, your partner can earn their freedom by ratting you out and killing you. Yeah. And like, yeah, why would all of the assassins be in one place at one time? That kind of defeats the whole purpose. So, and then 3 and 9 were part of that. They got partnered up. 9 betrayed 3. Well, I mean, betrayed, did her job, and then I'm gonna guess that she and 9 or 9 is the girl, 3 is the boy. I'm gonna guess that she actually betrays the organization, and they probably kill the person, the overseer, and then run away. That's my guess. We'll see. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you take out one, I mean, I guess Ouroboros did the same thing. When they rescued Ren, they just killed everybody in one of the cult locations. Yeah. San, not Chan. San. Did we get any great development with Sansan at any point? I didn't even remember her name. And there was a lot of dialogue in the Crossbow games. I remember talking to her. I remember there being at least one side mission. That's about it. Not that characters can't develop relationships outside of that, but like, well, this is a heartwarming sight. Oh, the SSS. Does this mean you're going to be leaving again? We don't have a plan set in stone yet, but most likely, yes. I still don't know whether Ilya and Sully are all right. I'll do whatever I must so that we can perform together again. I thought you might say that. I'm sorry, Sansan. I don't feel like we're ripping your best friend from you after you only just got her back. But there are people who need Risha's help, us included. We need her with us if we're going to secure Crossbelt's future and freedom. I know it won't be easy, but we're asking you to have faith in us. I promise we'll take good care of Risha and give her all the support we possibly can. I'm sorry for putting you through so much. I really am. I promise I'll come back as safe as soon as I can. And when I do, I'll bring everyone from Long Lao back with me. Okay, but please be careful. I'm gonna hold you all to that. You'd better look after her. We will. I should be the one looking after her. What's wrong, Risha? Were you gonna say something? Oh, no, it's nothing. Was that my imagination? Hey, Shanchan. Santan. Are you mentally okay? You got a little bit of curse going on in your little brain there? All right. That's enough that. Cross billion. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm glad you got a call back from a job, though. Is that like a call back to do an interview, or is that a call back to like a start date thing? I mean, even an interview is a huge step up. My God. What's up, Chief? Well, look what the contract in. The young folk of the village have been keeping me up to date. And me and my bolo tie. Now that's good. I mean, fuck, if they actually went through and interviewed every person who applied that was qualified, like, it'd be so much easier to land a job. But they just, like, don't. They're just like, we'll just interview one out of every 600 people. I think that sounds right. It's like, fuck off, man. That includes, of course, everything that happened in the city. You folks have had it rough. Sorry for worrying you, Chief Tolta. Thank you so much for taking in my grandfather and the refugees. As his secretary, please allow me to express my deepest gratitude. Come now, lass. Now more than ever, we gotta extend a helping hand in times of need. It was the speaker who fought for us when those goons were trying to set up the convalescent home and military camp. Not to mention all the times the SSS has helped us in the past. Yeah, we're only doing our job, sir. Ah, spare me the humility. We've been in your debt ever since. Oh, perfect luck. Not once have you abandoned the weak. Nope, you fought for us all. That means a lot to me. You okay, Ellie? If you ever need a hand with something, anything at all, you just let us know and we'll come running. We may be a rink-a-dink little farm village, but we got your backs all the same. And we couldn't ask for better allies. Thank you so much. There's so many people supporting us. We really can't afford to let them down. I just know we're going to take Crossbow back and find Kia. Yes, I hope so. So would you mind me asking what happened after the ceremony, Ellie? You haven't been yourself ever since we ran into you outside the village. I don't deserve to have the villagers speaking so kindly about me, not after I turned my back on Kia. What? Two days ago. Kia Sorento. I actually don't know the name of a lot of Kia vehicles. What is their, like, main vehicle? Nothing is funnier than going to, like, a car website, because they're always like, oh, do you want to pay $50,000 for a brand new 2026 SUV? It's like, no, man. Who the fuck would do that? All right. Besides, you know, there's a handful of people, but most of those people lease those vehicles and then they trade them in. They don't actually purchase a brand new vehicle. Okay, so Kia, they've got the Carnival, the Kia Seltos, the Sportage, Kia Sorento. That's the one that I was thinking of, and a Kia Telluride. I remember there was a movie that it was some comedy movie that they fucking were like advertising. They were clearly advertising Kia. They were like doubling up on it to try to make it more comedic, where it's like, Kia, it's the best car ever. Like, you know, sometimes they do that. They did that in Oh fuck, Wayne's World, where they're like Pizza Hut is great or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. The older I get, the less interested I am in having a new car. It would be nice to have a hybrid or an electric, but I don't know. And look at these starting car prices: $30,000. Like you could buy a house with this amount of money. Yeah, nothing really exciting here though. I would like to get a sedan again. All right, that's me being incredibly distractible. Also, Kia is kind of like a demigod, so I think she'll be all right. Oh, Ellie. So many people in this series love to self-sacrifice. People who would absolutely be exploited if they worked at McDonald's. Literally, if Lloyd worked at like Mickey D's, he would absolutely get fucked over every chance, and he'd be like, "No, it's okay. I'll take the 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. shift. It'll be just fine." Because I've also done the same thing when I worked at Pizza Hut, so that's speaking from experience there. She's not dead, Lloyd. God. Okay, Grindel, gotta give you a little. Let's go ahead and delete that message. Um, no, I want to ban. I don't want to block. How do I open up mod chat? Um, um, hmm. Do I have to actually go to my own stream? And can I do it from here? To open my chat. Sword icon at the bottom right. Sword icon. I don't even see a sword icon. Yeah, no, I'm already a moderator. I don't see a sword icon. Am I stupid? Or do I not? Okay, let's see. No, I'm not a mod. Well, I mean, I am a moderator. As streamer. I guess that would probably be easier, huh? Okay. Ban? Best Grendo 3-8. Thank you, Lucis. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. Trying to shows you how often I have to do things myself. Yeah. Okay. How has Vantage Masters been treating you? And Pom Pom Party. Maybe if I get into Vantage Masters this time, I won't have that bad of a time because I haven't been doing it. I could be absolutely fucking wrong though. I mean, in my playthrough, oh, cute. Okay. Anything else? Act 2. Lloyd's Route. By Crown Line. By Rural Minstroni from the inn. I don't think that I did that. Not a huge Minstroni fan. But I would not say no to it if someone offered. Okay, I think I did all of the required things. So now to the sanatorium. Aretha? I already talked to Rex. Okay. I think we've seen everything. Let's go visit the clinic. There you two are. Hey, Risha. Finished catching up with Sansa? Yes, I just wanted to see how she's doing, so it didn't take long. You two are going to visit Speaker McDowell, correct? Would you mind if I joined you? Not at all, and thank you for keeping him in your thoughts. Lloyd, Ellie, and Risha entered the clinic as Ellie showed them the way to Speaker McDowell's room. There's a lot of boobs in one room. I figured Playboy here wasn't gonna let us stay down in the dumps. You know I can hear you, right? In any case, I'm glad to hear you're doing better, Mr. Speaker. So am I, but please don't overexert yourself and try to rush your recovery. After everything that's happened in Crossbell, I don't know what I would do if something were to happen to you too. She's right, your condition is stable now, but the clinic is still short on staff and medicine. The best thing you can do for yourself and us is get plenty of bed rest. I will, thank you for looking after me. I wish there was something I can do in return. My powerlessness is simply galling. Please don't blame yourself, Grandfather. I cannot apologize enough to the people of Crossbell for my fellow former Ironblood's actions. I also wish to make clear on no uncertain terms that the Imperial government abhors what happened and was not involved. The illegal occupation of Crossbell is the work of Rufus Alberea and his alone. Fear not, I was not under the impression that Ereboni was responsible for this. I can never imagine Emperor Eugent allowing his actions at this point. It wouldn't make sense for the Empire to stage an occupation of Crossbell not after willingly withdrawing its forces not long ago. Though that only begs the questions of why Rufus is doing this, or why he has collaborators in this Ebon Defense Force backing him. I can't speak for the two we didn't recognize, but I can't wrap my head around Dieter and Garcia helping him. The former CEO of the IBC and an ex-Jaeger turned mafia boss. That's quite the pair of convict he's working with. Each of them has a personal history with the SSS. I've also crossed blows with the Killing Bear as Yin before. Come to think of it, he helped you when you were in prison, didn't he? He did, which is why I'm having such a hard time understanding his involvement. They both seem like they were ready to turn over a new leaf. Why do this, Dieter? About that, I had the chance to confront him briefly before I escaped the city. You did? Cecile. Yeah. Not Cecily. Cecile. Really? Is he still on about that? He's always had a raging hard-on for that kind of stuff. But I want you to know you can still trust us, Mr. Speaker. We'll get to the bottom of their motivations and do what we have to do to take back Crossbell. We won't allow the independence we've worked so hard for to slip through our grasp like this. That's right, we're not going to give up on our dreams so easily. We can achieve anything when we all work together, the entire SSS. That's never changed. Thank you. It's reassuring to know we have your help. And I'm ready to lend my strength to the cause as well. I guess I can lend a hand, too. Please take care of yourself, Lloyd. I don't want to have to treat you, too. I will, Cecily. Cecile. Promise. Let's go think on what our best course of action from here will be. For shame, there's nothing more I can do for them. They have shouldered what should have been my burden time and time again. Please don't blame yourself, Mr. Speaker. They're doing what any Crossbellian would if they had the power. Although... Guy Mannings. Watch out! What the? Where did that come from? Are we under attack? Don't think so. Nor do I. Take a closer look. A letter? I've never seen anything like this script, though. Looks like an old school style of writing from the East. I'm guessing it's coded. Precisely. I've used the exact code in my work as Yin before. It says, "The dancer and former Zero Child are in our care. Come to the ancient battlefield to the southeast. We await you." Ah, Muse. I mean, she's supposed to be a freaking tactical genius, so I guess that would make sense. Oh, now written in Eastern code delivered on a kunai, meant for Yin, and not hard to figure out who it's from, or who they have in their custody. At least they're both alright. I told you Key is strong, didn't I? Still, why would they be looking after Ilya as well? Something wrong, Lloyd? Wait. You don't think this is a ransom note? Most likely. They wouldn't have waited this long to contact us without a reason. They may be under their care, but that doesn't mean they're safe. No. The ancient battlefield's where the cult had its base, right? Can't say I have a good feeling about this, but you're not going to let that stop you, huh? Of course, as long as there's a chance Key is there, no dangers. Do great. We'll do whatever it takes to keep her safe. I feel the same way. Not going simply isn't an option if that's where our loved ones are. That's right. Let's make sure we're fully prepared before we set off. Oh my god. I don't know. We'll really see if I have the mental strength to do Pom Pom Party. My guess is no, but doesn't mean I can't give it a try. Or maybe I should pick one or the other, either Pom Pom Party or Vantage Masters. Like, I should get at least half the points. I feel like I would do Vantage Masters. What's this strange feeling? Choosing to continue will cause the main story to advance. It will also not be possible to go any further in Lloyd's story for a brief period. Something wrong, Lloyd? Oh, sorry, I thought I said something strange, but it must have been my imagination. Wait, why does my pocket feel bulkier all of a sudden? A mirror? How peculiar looking. Where did you find it? Not sure. I've never seen it before. Strange as it sounds, it just appeared in my pocket out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that doesn't just happen. I'm guessing one of the village kids slipped into your pocket as a prank. Maybe, but I doubt any of them could pull it off without me noticing. But if that's not it, then how did it get in my pocket? I can't even hazard a guess. I feel as though I have it for a reason. It's so bizarre. Where could it have come from? How bizarre, how bizarre. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Well, I played almost no Vantage Masters and almost no Pom Pom Party, so I have no real reference point. I think I played like 4 games of Vantage Masters. Yeah. Like, I get it, at least. It's not like it's a super complicated. It just is like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a guide online too that'll just be like, this is how you should play, and you'll win every time. Also, I watched the last episode of the Trails anime because I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna continue. I know that I'm not going to watch the whole thing through. I watched like the first 5 episodes and then that last episode. Reen didn't really go berserk in the way that he described it. Did I miss something in between? Or did he just like, because he like basically passed out? I don't know. Like, there wasn't really much, or maybe I did miss it. I have no clue, but then he used the power in the last episode, so I doubt he would have used it again if he... I don't know. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I should have fast forwarded through some of the other episodes. Okay. Because when he was speaking about it in the game, he was like, and maybe this is a discrepancy between the scriptwriter for the anime, because I imagine that they were produced at the same time. The scriptwriter for the anime and the scriptwriter for the game, and I could see that the game scriptwriters were like, okay, so we agree that Reen is going to go berserk at the end. We're putting this in. And then the anime people, maybe they just didn't have the budget or the amount of episodes or whatever. They change it around. Because in my imagination, he like totally freaked out, got people killed, but also fought like thousands of archaisms and like did like a whole bunch of shit. It was, you know, they had to do a ton to get him to calm down. And that didn't really happen at all. Like... It's really weird. The morning after learning from Major Clay of Crossbow's occupation, we set about discussing how we should act. We also established contact with all the members of the Class 7 that we could to inform them of the situation. First, there was the matter of Crossbow itself. We knew from the Major's intel that it was under the control of the former Governor General and in his Ebon Defense Force. Anxiety over the region's welfare gnawed at us, but as it had been isolated from the outside world, we had no way to learn more. Indeed, there was little we could do on that front for the time being. Then there was the matter of the search for Prince Oliver and his wife. Their whereabouts remained unknown. Furthermore, the Round of 7 system we had used to stay in touch over long distances relied on an artifact stored in the Courageous 2, and with the airship stolen, that method of communication was lost to us. Our only clue, then, was the message sent to the Intelligence Division by sea. Vague as it was, the information was undoubtedly our best lead in unraveling the mystery of the prince's disappearance. With hope on the horizon, we set about dividing ourselves into several groups. Major Claire and Una agreed to head east to get a handle on the situation in Crossbell. Claire and Una. Meanwhile, Lord Matthias and Kurt would head west and rendezvous with the students at the Vander School. Muse volunteered to return to the branch campus to meet up with the principal and her fellow students, as well as seek help from other sources. The others would all find ways to play to their strengths in aiding our cause. Meanwhile, I was to bring Altina and Ash with me to Heimdall to follow the trail left to us by C's message. Oh, he did. That's like such an abusive gaslighting way to fucking say that. Oh, your dad only hit you because he knew that you could take it. Like, he didn't need to hit me at all, actually. We do, don't worry. Yeah, tell you he wasn't acting in any ill will. If anything, I'm the one with a reputation for being a stern disciplinarian around here. Based on how often I see my students quake at the knees, I'd wager they fear me more than my husband. I caught wind of that when we were here for one of our field exercises. Kurt's got some monster parents. Surprised the guy ain't half-time Mauritian or something. In the time I spent with him, it was clear that there was much more to him than his stern presence on the battlefield. He was kind enough to share some wisdom with me, too. Was he now? He's a man of few words, but that's very unusual. I can't picture that happening at all. Same here. Please don't speak rudely about the man in front of his wife, you two. Don't worry, I appreciate their honesty. Still, I'm glad to see that you all seem even more united as a class than you did when you were last here. Do continue to look after my Kurt, won't you? Of course. We would even if we weren't asked to. And if he wants help getting into the good kind of trouble, I'm his guy. Getting back to why we're here, has anything out of the ordinary happened in the capital recently? The students who are here have split up across Erebonia to search for information on Prince Olivert's whereabouts. As such, I'm not as well informed on the situation here in Heimdall as I would be, but there is one thing I feel is worth mentioning. What is that? It feels as though there are more people coming and going than there should be, especially given how there are no festivals or celebrations here around this time of year. It's making the capital feel more restless than usual, differently from how it did during the summer festival. It's as though there's something stagnant in the air. I'll be glad to not have to deal with any more Calvert spies like at the festival, that's for sure. But stagnant air is all you're gonna get in the city to begin with. You feel anything out of whack, Schwarzer? Not especially, if I'm honest. I'm guessing it's a relatively slight difference, man. Yes, it may even just be my imagination. You lived in Heimdall for a long time. If something feels amiss to you, it likely is. We'll keep that in mind as we investigate. Sorry I can't provide you with any more concrete information. There is one thing I can do, however. I'd like to introduce you to someone dependable to aid your investigation. Oh? Well, I say introduce, but you in particular know her very well. She should be here any moment now. Ah, there we are. The fuck is she here for? Damn, Rain. Ha! Alright, Ash, that was funny. You guys still got 15 minutes. I don't care about these two and their relationship. And also, like, this could all be avoided, how weird all of this is, if she was just, like, had a cool personality of any kind. Like, if she wasn't like, oh, my brother. You know, like, for the first 50%, like, that was almost everything that she was. You know, like, make her a little brash or something. Like, give her fucking any personality trait. Make her like pickles a lot. I don't, something. Let's see what to do next. We have to meet up with the rest of our friends who've come to the capital, but there's still plenty of time before our scheduled gathering. No point in rushing that. Shall we patrol the districts and gather some intelligence? Alan, Bridget. You stop being a fucking psycho, Alan? Little crazy boy. Yeah, I think I won like one game of Bomb Bomb Party, and it felt like it was completely out of luck. Like, I did not feel confident in that. 1,000 mira for some fucking juice? Oh my god. Okay. I didn't expect you all to come this early. That's what she said. We were going around gathering info when we happened to see you here. Elise wanted to help us out too, so that's why she's here. I'll do my best not to trouble you. I don't think there's any chance of that. You'll be a fine help. If you need anything, just lean on me. Thank you, I will. I think anyone can tell Elise is going to be a more reliable asset than you here. Rude! Seeing them at a stall together takes me back to the summer festival. How was that only a few short months ago? Feels like so much longer. Was that a flashback photo? They're just in the same location. I can't imagine Eustace saw what Rufus is doing coming either. I can't imagine Eustace saw what Rufus is doing. I can't imagine Eustace saw what Rufus is doing coming either. Okay, rearrange that in my head. I can't imagine that Eustace saw what Rufus was going to be doing. That's such a weird way to put that. Please remove yourself from around my neck. We haven't even seen each other in forever. It's barely been 2 weeks. That's 2 whole weeks. She whines, but she's not trying to escape. This is how it always is with them now. Hey, do you want to try some gelato or ice cream from one of the stalls? It's delicious. 1 ice cream cone, please, with 5 scoops. You only allow 3 scoops maximum? Then I'll take 3, but I'd appreciate it if you make them as big as possible. She really doesn't want to let loose this thing they've got going on, huh? Anyway, were you guys gathering intel or just on a date? We were not standing idly, and we were certainly not on a date. We've been looking into the flow of goods in the capital. That would explain why you were visiting multiple shops and stalls. What have you learned then? It seems like there's lots of groups buying stuff in bulk lately. All kinds of stuff, too. Food, ornaments. It's almost like they're getting ready for something. That is unusual. I get panic buying in response to Crosswell's occupation, but lately implies before that. Yeah, the war's over and winter's still far off, so you can't be stocking up for the weather. The buyers themselves are suspicious sorts. When we started looking into them in detail, we discovered they were either startups or foreign. That, and they all appear to exist in name only. That only adds to the mystery. Oh, you're already done with your ice cream? Wasn't it good? Well, yes, I have to admit that. We're not here to discuss ice cream. The buyers exist in name only. Can we be dealing with cases of fraud? Actually, no. The transactions are legitimate. The sellers received their money and the goods were dispatched. The other significant mystery is that there is no record of where any of these goods ended up. The intelligence division has tried tracking some of these orders. They just get forwarded all over the place before disappearing along with other orders like this. They may have had better luck if they marked an order from the moment it's placed, but alas. Right, by the time they realize they're dealing with another one of those, the transaction's already long done. So do we think whoever's doing this has gathered all the stuff they need to by now? Probably. Sounds as though we're dealing with some very skilled criminals. Perhaps the reborn Imperial Liberation Front is hoarding supplies? What is it? Nothing worthy of note. I was just wondering if it perhaps may lead to Crossbell's new Supreme Leader instead. Well, it could. I just can't fathom why my brother would be so foolish. Thought he'd finally learned his lesson. It makes no sense to me either. I haven't known him for that long, even if we were both Ironbloods, but after we beat him in the Imperial Fortress, he seemed pretty much done. I think we're all under the same impression. Either way, speculating on what he's trying to do serves us no purpose in this now. Regardless of his reasons, I will be sure to right his wrongs. This is his brother. I'm sorry you're going through this, Eustace. Okay. Alright, there we go. Let me see. Did my wife say she's on her way? Yeah. Okay, I gotta go feed the dogs, do the goddamn thing. For now, you'll only have 200 more games of each to go. Yeah, I'll probably play a little bit off stream, especially with how much dialogue is going on right now. Probably not a ton though. Alright. Well, that was a good hour. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay. Before we only are forced to come to this dungeon area once an act. Okay. Well, yeah, there's only like 5 acts. Kind of a 4 acts and a finale and a post game. All right. Well,